Robby, 9 days away from the NFL draft. I feel like most of us are just ready for it at this point because we've been in draft mode for a very, very long time.
Is the way it goes, my friend. It's it gets tiring after a while, no question. And it's almost there. When are you going to Pitt? When are you traveling down there? Over there?
Day before. So I guess 8 days from now.
Day before.
You still could join us. Big draft party, McFadden's.
I know. I missed the window. The deadline. They reminded me the deadline was late last week to be on the scene covering it, but I didn't get it in. Didn't get it in. So I'll probably be at the facility Thursday night, having fun with some of the.
What? Calm your freaky down.
Didn't get it in, huh? You dog.
I didn't say that.
10 o'clock in the morning. Jeez. Anyway, let's talk. Let's talk about what Daniel Jeremiah said when he joined Rich Eisen on a Throwback Sports Center Sunday night. So they were going through Jeremiah's latest mock, and full disclosure, Robby, because I know you're going to lose your mind over this. Jeremiah has the Jets selecting David Bailey at 2. I know you're a staunch Arvell Reese guy, so we will get more of your thoughts on that in a bit. But just specifically with the Jets trading up here, this was Jeremiah breaking down the decision that he had in his mock for the Jets to go up in this mock. Again, Jeremiah has the Jets making a deal, moving up from 16 to number 7. Take a listen.
Mock draft at 7. Jeremiah Love is sitting out there. The Washington Commanders are sitting there at 7. Commanders fans are dreaming of seeing that Notre Dame Dynamo standing next to Jaden Daniels in every single offensive set. But you have the first surprising trade of the draft happening right here in the mock draft. The floor is yours.
Yeah, this is about an opportunity here for the New York Jets to move up, to be aggressive in this draft. They are loaded with picks in this year and next year. And when you look at the cost for them to go from 16 to 7, you're talking about their second round pick, a 4th round pick, and their 16th overall pick. So it's not that big of an ask. And a Washington team that needs some more picks, they're a little light, they don't have a 2nd round pick. So they slide back. The Jets come back up. They've already got David Bailey, and now they add Carnell Tate to team up with a fellow Ohio State Buckeye and Garrett Wilson. They have the ability, they have the capacity to be aggressive in this draft and come away with 2 of the top players. And they're another team that's looking specifically at that wide receiver spot.
Okay, so Carnell Tate in a trade up. Again, I'm going to put up the full trade courtesy of our guy, Boyd Green. Robby, unmute your microphone and you tell me your thoughts on the New York Jets coming up from 16 to 7 with the Washington Commanders. They would trade pick 44 and pick 103 to be able to draft Carnell Tate from the Ohio State 7th overall.
A few thoughts. Number one, the old NFL primetime music on the money. Like that's a beautiful thing. Number two, Jeremiah now, we know what he did with calling a shot with Houston. Stroud, Will Anderson.
That's where my mind went. This is not the first time he's been calling for a big trade, and people are like, huh, really? And he ended up being right.
Correct. But where my mind also goes in conjunction is, what info is he possibly working off of? And is it the same source as the David Bailey at 2 source that got this party started, which, the entire world, except for Dane Brugler, that's the OG right there. And many others, or you too, you're among that group who still think it's Reese, are living right now. Is that from the same source? And if so, is he being led astray? I know this. Not a lot of teams want to trade up in this draft for an obvious reason. That the class is not that great. Not just quarterback, but altogether. And, I love Tate. I think Tate is wide receiver number 1 by far. Not by far, but, comfortably. I just don't know if I wouldn't be opposed to the deal. Let's put it that way. It depends on who might fall. Will Ione fall? Does he have a chance of falling? Will Lemon or Tyson be there at 16? Could Caleb Downs somehow be there at 16? And if I think any of those guys will fall at 16, I'm not making the deal. I'm holding on to my picks. I'm holding on to 44. And round 4. What was it? What was the number? 130? I forget.
103. So the Jets have 2 4th-round picks. One's a compensatory pick. The other is their own. Look, it's a steep price, but I do think
I'll put it that way.
I do think if they grade out these receivers, and Tate is clearly above the other ones, and they don't think they could stay at 16 and get the same quality player that they could have potentially having to move up, I would understand them doing this. I would. Like, the Jets need to figure out wide receiver. They've left themselves incredibly vulnerable with the lack of additions in free agency or trade up until this point. Last year, Garrett Wilson got hurt and they had nothing. We are in a very similar situation this year. Any chance of Geno Smith giving you a throwback, type of year, a 2015 Fitzpatrick season, ironically, that we're asking for, you got to stack the deck with weapons. Why did Fitz have that great year? Well, he had a great running game with Chris Ivory and Bilal Powell. He had Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, Quincy Enunwa. Yeah. I think A.D. Mitchell could be your number 3. I think you got a quality tight end in Mason Taylor. Garrett Wilson's a number 1. You got Breece Hall. But I need a legit running mate for Garrett. And I think Carnell Tate is a perfect complement for what the Jets need. He's tall. He has outstanding body length. He's a guy that I think could play at all 3 levels. I think you could line him all over the field. I like him a lot. I think he's a really good fit. Now, if they think they could get someone at 16 like Jordan Tyson or Mekhi Lemon, okay, but you better trust your scouting. You better trust your ability to kind of figure out what other teams are doing in front of you, because if you miss out on a receiver at 16 and then you're kind of picking from the lesser pool of players, that might not be good enough for this year. And again, I want to set our team up for whoever the quarterback is in 2027 to be walking into an ideal situation. So if they, long answer, but if they think Carnell Tate's that guy and he's worth it, I'm okay with this. I would be aggressive. That's the point of having these extra picks.
Yeah. I mean, so this is not like a Reese Bailey thing for me. This is I'm not opposed to it. I would consider it. I might even do it under the right circumstances, but it's not a home run. Let's put it that way, because Tate, I like him. I think he's receiver 1 for me. I don't think he's special by way of explosiveness. I don't think there's that guy in this draft. And the way this draft shakes out, round 2 is the goods. Round 2 is where the good GMs are going to separate themselves from the bad GMs. And having those 2 picks early in the second is big time now, because no one's looking to trade up in the first half of the first round. Maybe it'll be cheaper, like we see with this draft in terms of value, but you lose the 4th round too. There are a lot of names: Brazel, Concepcion, Cooper. Where is he going to go? Can he potentially fall? Most likely not. Could one of the other 2, Lemon or Tyson, fall to 16? I would guess one of them will be there, but I'm not sure. So, Ted Hurst, Steven, I get it. I understand. And I'm very rarely one to say absolutely yes or absolutely no, and this falls into that category. It's not a home run for me.
There's a good chance Tate goes to the Browns at 6, and this is all a moot point.
Yeah.
But if Tate is there and he's their guy, yeah, like I would do this again. Like the Jets don't score points. There's no other way to describe it other than that. They're the only team since 1970 to rank in the bottom 10 in scoring and offensive yards in 10 straight years. Like, be aggressive, man. Playing it safe. Where's that gotten the Jets? Like, now be aggressive. Tate could be a legit star next to Garrett Wilson. I see that. I see the fit. I think he's the best receiver in the class, and I'm willing to be aggressive to get him.
I do too. I do too. I think he's the best receiver in the class, but at the same time, receiver is so deep. I think I'd rather
double up. Sure.
But I think I'd rather, if that option or the Brian Thomas Jr. option were on the table, I'd take Brian Thomas Jr. I'd go that direction instead.
So then you would be trading probably pick 44 to get him.
Yes.
All right, ASMANIACs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throw in some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA, that's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Next week, we'll just go through your final big board and address the latest draft rumors 2 days out from this thing. But we're going to break down 2 prospects today. Everyone now can see your screen. We're going to start with Omar Cooper Jr., who lit it up this year for the national champs, and Fernando Mendoza, of course. So whenever you're ready, let's break down some film on Cooper, who did, in fact, take a top 30 visit with the Jets yesterday. So he is definitely in play at either 16, 33, or potentially maybe the Jets trade back into round 1 to take him.
Yeah, and Jake, I don't know if it's my audio or not, but you were cutting in and out a little bit. So I don't know if you need to reset the StreamYard. I'm not sure if other people were hearing that, but it sounded a little bit robotic. But yeah, with Cooper, and hopefully, I don't know if Jake's gonna reset. I can't see anything. But maybe I have the screen. I can't see you. No, I can see you, but like with the film up, I can't see you. But your audio was choppy, so I don't know if that was just me or not. If it wasn't just me, I apologize. Yeah, so with Cooper, I like Cooper. It seems like over the last 3 weeks, he just suddenly became like that fourth guy, no matter what. When a few weeks before that, he was kind of like in the Concepcion. It could be Bernard, it could be Brazil, and then he suddenly just elevated. So I like Cooper, and he's kind of like at the floor of what I would want at 16, or what I would be okay with at 16. Not even want. So I think transparently it'd be a little bit of a reach at 16. We'll look at some of the film of him. You look at some of the stats he had. I think like 30% of his yards came against Kennesaw State and Michigan State. So some easy situations. I think like 25% of his touchdowns came in those 2 games as well. So against some inferior competition. He played about 80% in the slot, so a lot of free releases and stuff. But you love the yak, you love the acceleration, the speed. He's pretty good at winning vertically. So he's an intriguing prospect. I just don't think he's some slam dunk at 16 like some other people do. And I feel like I've been kind of dumping on prospects more so than gassing them up. Concepcion, I'm going to gas him up a little bit. I actually like Concepcion as my receiver 3, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But some of the problems with him, he used to be a little bit of an inconsistent route runner. I don't think he's the most explosive out of his breaks. Can body catch it a little bit, and then he played mostly in the slot again, which is one of my concerns with him, that he's going to be a slot guy. Now, I think the year prior, he played a little bit more to the outside. Transparently, I did not watch any 2024. I only watched 25, so I always want to give that caveat. But I'm going to show you like 5 good, 3 bad of him, and same thing for Concepcion. And like you said, Jake, we're not doing a film review two days before the draft, because nobody cares at this point. Can you imagine 2 days before the draft? It's just like nobody's going to really care about a vague Ione breakdown or anything like that. But I'll show you some of the good stuff of Cooper. Obviously, Yak's can come into play. And I'm not just watching targets or anything like that. I'm watching plays. I'm watching every single rep of the game. And this route, he does a really good job of getting open versus this deep DB. It's probably a safety in this situation. But we'll watch the play and then we'll talk about it again. He doesn't get targeted here, but it's a good route by him. And I think he's pretty good, or he's consistently pretty good at winning vertically. And here, it's pretty small little nuance that he uses here to get open. And really it's 2 steps where he gets open here. And it's one, when he comes off the ball here, he stems a little bit to the inside, which is just like the vertical stem before you break in, before you break out, whatever it may be. So he stems a little bit to the inside to get the DB thinking that, okay, he's running a skinny post, a slice, deep over, whatever it may be. And we'd see the DB start to kind of shuffle to the inside a little bit and then open his hips up. As he opens his hips up, he undercuts him and is open on the outbreaker on that corner. Looks like they just run like a scissors concept. But the little nuance of the footwork here is nice as well from Cooper. And again, I think he's pretty good at winning vertically. So we could see his shoulders are down, right? Initially selling the drive phase, which is like the first 5 to 10 yards. You want to sell vertical. What he uses here is a hop step. So he goes left step, right foot hovers, it never touches the ground. Left step to the right again, and it's a very small nuance, but it's kind of just changing up the pacing of the route, where basically if the DB expecting the outbreak, he'd have to take an extra like half a step and be probably a little bit closer to the DB. So it's just changing up a little bit of the route pacing, gets outside on that corner route and is open. Obviously the ball is not there. But he roasts that DB, right? Like this is a spot that you wanna be in. So good vertical route runner. Again, a little bit of the problem too with him is that, okay, hey, he's playing an RPO heavy offense. A lot of it's short, so it's not the most pro style type of offense, but let's keep watching. Top outside slot, win vertically. Okay. So he's right here to the top slot against, again, a DB in off coverage, probably a corner this time. And he does a good job with a pacing here. Again, wins vertically, isn't targeted, but I don't care. Clearly, he wins that route, right? So we don't have to look at only targets, only catches, touchdowns, things like that. So this DB, he's using his stem again. You can see he kind of starts near like the bottom of the numbers. He stems him outside just to move him a little bit to the outside because it's an in-breaking route, right? So he stems him to the outside. As he kind of closes ground, we're going to see shoulders down. Right here, right? Shoulders are down, really selling that we're running a vertical route. And the shoulders come up. And when the shoulders come up, DBs are going to look at that and they're going to think, okay, obviously it could be a double move. It could still be a vertical, but typically it's going to be, okay, a break is coming, whether it be inside break, outside break, breaking back to the quarterback. So comes up, stabs to the outside, which hits the DB to bite a little bit to the outside, freezes the feet, and he uses good like a good swim move, club arm over right here to clear the hands, wins very clearly vertical, right? So if Mendoza was to target him here, we're talking about probably a 70-yard touchdown or whatever would be 74-yard touchdown right there for Cooper. So that's what we call like route pacing. When we talk about, okay, he's not using proper route pacing or he's not playing with his route pacing. This type of stuff is what we're talking about, like going from fast to slow, raising the shoulders, stabbing to the outside. It's all nuance, all the nuances in route running that when you reps, and this is something that Carnell Tate does consistently very well. It's just how good he is at route running. It's pretty ridiculous to me. So 3 more plays left of the positive from him. He's the bottom slot right here. There's really nothing crazy about like breaking this play down. It's a one-handed catch with some yak. So it's just showing off some of the ability he has. Now, not the tallest guy in the world. He's 6 foot 200. So it's not like he's going to have the largest catch radius in the world. But he does do a good job of using every inch he possibly has of the catch radius. So again, not the biggest in the world, but he does a good job of obviously securing that ball, right? We're talking about breaking, 1.5 tackles there. Thiemann actually brings him down at the end right there. But hell of a catch by Cooper here. Let me just drag it a little bit so you can kind of see like full extension to the ball, one-handed, secures it, breaks 1 tackle, picks up an extra, let's call it 7 yards because of it. So get to the last 2 ones. Bam step. Okay. So a little bit more nuance in the route running, which I like from him. I think he can be inconsistent as a route runner though. And we'll see that a little bit or in a couple minutes. He's to the bottom right here as I go with this bunch, but he's in the bottom inside slot. We'll talk about the route a little bit. I'm not even sure if he gets the ball here, honestly, but it's a really good route. Yeah, so he doesn't get the ball there. But what he does is he uses a bam step at the top, which I'll talk about. So it's, again, a little nuance at the top of your route breaks that he uses, which can sell a DB to the inside. So obviously he stems heavy to the inside here, right? You're not sure who's picking him up. It looks like they may be, I don't want to throw out a bunch of like stupid terms, but like banjoing or top hatting it, whatever they may be doing. So he's not sure exactly who's going to take him. So dives to the inside, and that may be by design regardless, but dives to the inside, right? Sees that 22 right here is starting to work towards him. Dips the shoulder right here, but you want to reduce your chest as best you can, because obviously a hand onto the shoulder, a hand onto the back is not going to impede our forward progress like a hand to the chest would. So dips the shoulder, good job there. We can see kind of rips through that right arm of the DB. And then what he uses here at the top of the route is a bam step. So he's in a head fake to his left. He's in a head fake away from the way he's breaking, and elbow jam opposite. Okay. So head fake to the left, right? He's breaking to the right. He's then going to pull this elbow back as hard as he can, and that's going to help his torso and his hips open up over his toe. I know, again, nerdy stuff, but this is what you're trying to look at with these guys. Is he using like stacked bam steps? Is he not? So again, head fake, pull that elbow back like he does right here, and you can see he's pretty tight. Get the toe pointed, and he does a good job of getting over those toes and breaking to the outside. So a good, again, more of a vertical route from Cooper. 24, this is last positive play with some straight up yak. Again, this is an easy one. He's to the bottom. I think he just runs like a hitch or a curl. Who really cares? It's off coverage. And then you're just going to see he does that all the time to dudes. It's pretty fun to watch where he undercuts guys, where he'll accelerate and his acceleration is really real. And then guys will try to match him and then he'll undercut him and picks up an extra 5 or 6 yards because of that. Obviously, NFL guys maybe not fall for it as much as some college guys do, but obviously elite body control, etc. there from Cooper. So that is it for the positive. Let me get into the negative. I have 3 negative plays here real quick, and then we'll get into some conception or whatever else. As second release drive phase. Okay, I think he's to the top right here, top slot versus DB in off coverage. Let's watch it, and we'll talk about it a little bit. I don't think he's the most consistent route runner in the world. There with some of the nuance and like drive phase and route pacing and tempoing routes, I think he can be a little bit inconsistent. And here we can see like he's coming off the ball pretty damn slow there. Now, if we are going to try to like in break, again, we could play with tempo, slow to fast, fast to slow, whatever it is, but he comes off the ball very slow right here. His shoulders are up the entire time. And he just like shortens his stride at the top of the break right there and then tries to break to the inside and then push past the DB's arms right here. The DB isn't threatened at all. Like the DB barely moves here. The entire rep doesn't threaten him vertically, doesn't use that speed, allows the hands to land on him. And now that route is covered. So I saw a little bit too much of this where it's a little bit like slow paced off the ball. And again, just inconsistent with the tempo and stuff. 2 plays left. Bottom inside slot, bad corner pacing, not enough ground covered, I guess I'm talking about. So he's right here, the number 3, the inside slot versus this DB. Clearly we're showing man, right? We're going man across the board here from Oregon. And let's watch the route here from Cooper. And it's covered up. I know the ball is out pretty quickly here, but in terms of the route, again, there's not a lot of explosion off the ball right here. And then when we do stem towards a DB or when we're working towards a DB, we do want to get on his toes. We want to threaten leverage, whether it be inside, outside, or whatever it may be, at least the minimum get on the toes. Right here, a good 3 yards off, 2.5 yards off. He's not really going to affect the DB very much. DB is able to open up with him, match the break, and his route is covered. Again, I just don't see the consistent nuance there from him. 25. And there's some mental lapses. Like sometimes he can catch the ball with his body. There are some times where he doesn't fight back to the ball, which I don't always love. And I know his blocking got like rave reviews. And I think it's more like numbers wise, but there was actually some reps. I actually thought he was a little bit more hot and cold than people thought he was. There were some reps I saw great effort, and there were some reps where he's kind of a little more passive. So I think the block technique and when he wants to, it's good, but it's a little bit more hot and cold than I like it to be. So last play of Cooper, and this is just him not fighting back to the ball, and then DB gets the deflection because of it. Okay, so like very simple stuff, right? Like we know we need to work back to the ball. We need to come to the ball at full extension. Runs this route. One, it's not the best break in the world. He's kind of turning out of it. You see how his toe is pointed inside. So he's not committing fully to the break. It's there's a little bit of dead time at the top. And then past that, we want to attack the ball, right? Corners in off man, but we didn't really get him to open up or anything like that. So we have to work back to it, extend towards it. He lets the ball work towards him. DB gets the deflection. So with Cooper, again, I like him. I do not love him at 16. He would be the floor of what I would be okay with, but I'd rather go in a different direction. I feel like he's more typically in like normal drafts, a bottom of the first round, early second type of guy. 16, again, transparently a little bit of a reach, but considering with what this class is, he would be the floor of what I would be okay with.
Fair breakdown. Good stuff from Joe Blewett on Omar Cooper Jr. If you have a comment or a question related to Cooper, write it in, and we will bring that up before we get to KC Concepcion. I wonder, Joe, there's been a lot of talk about the Jets having to potentially decide between Cooper and Kenyon Sadiq if like the big 3 receivers are off the board and they can't find a trade partner at a 16. What would you do then? Would you take Cooper over Sadiq? Because I know we did Sadiq, I think last week or 2 weeks ago on the show. Where do you have Cooper? Where do you have Sadiq?
Yeah, so Cooper's like and again, transparently, I didn't put Mendoza in most of my list. I didn't do Delane. I didn't do who's the other injured? McCoy. I didn't do like Fano or Lemieux or whatever. So I didn't do a lot of the offensive linemen and receivers or offensive linemen. and the corners. And I also skipped out on Thielen and McNeil Warren just because I messaged Shams, your guy too. And he just, at this point, he still has another like 10 reviews to put out in the next, 10 days. So he's a little bit stacked up. So I couldn't even do it. But to me, it's Cooper. Again, Cooper would be, again, I don't want to say it 1,000 times, but the floor of what I would be okay with. Sadiq to me is a reach. It's purely based on his athleticism and upside, but the film it's not there. A lot of the like the yak and stuff with Sadiq, I want to see a little bit more. I see the potential there, but Sadiq to me is pretty much a pure upside swing. So I wouldn't touch him at 16. I saw the stuff on the podcast you have with Samini, like you guys tweeted out and stuff, that he's saying he would be gone before the Jets pick. Please, God, please take him. If a team is willing to do that, fine with me. Again, he could be a good player, but he's just not in that Warren, Loveland, Bowers class to me. It's a pure upside swing. So absolutely not. Cooper 100 times out of 100 over Sadiq.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.